Minecraft horror mods have come a long way. Instead of just adding scary monsters, making it edgy, and adding a bunch of jump scares that just make the game unbearable, many horror mods completely change the way you experience the game through atmosphere, sound design, and psychological horror. Today, I'm ranking 3 of my favorite horror mods, and by the end, I'll tell you guys which one I think is the best. The first mod I'm going to be talking about is the Mimicker. Unlike many horror mods that immediately throw a monster at you for a jump scare, the Mimicker focuses on creating tension throughout the entire playthrough. The creature tends to stalk the player using unsettling sounds and carefully timed appearances to keep you constantly on edge and keep more of a psychological horror. Most encounters happen in caves or dark areas where visibility is already limited. This makes it so that you never really know if it's nearby until it's almost too late. The creature itself is incredibly well designed, and its movements make every encounter feel intense, but it loses a bit of its fear factor once you understand its behavior and have experienced its jump scares enough. However, it is still one of the best monster-focused horror mods available. Next is Untitled.log. This mod takes a completely different approach to horror. Instead of relying on a single creature, it creates an unsettling atmosphere that makes the entire world just feel wrong. Strange events happen around the player, environments subtly change, you encounter all types of creatures that either stalk or come after you, that constantly leaves you on edge. The mod is heavily inspired by old Minecraft versions, internet creepypastas, and ARGs, giving it a nostalgic feeling that's slowly twisted into something much darker. Untitled.log is unpredictable. Rather than depending on jump scares, it builds tension over time, making every strange event feel even more unsettling than the last, making you really question what really is going on in this Minecraft world. What makes Untitled.log stand out more than other mods is the fact that it implements a story behind the world that you're playing in that seems to have many surreal dimensions that are connected to lost memories, death, abandoned places, and trapped souls. Throughout the mod, you'll encounter entities and environments that imply that previous victims were pulled into these dimensions before you. Last but definitely not least is Wonderland.jar. This is easily one of the most unique horror mods ever made for Minecraft. Rather than simply adding new monsters, Wonderland.jar completely transforms the game into a surreal horror experience. Players are pulled into bizarre environments filled with unsettling visuals, disturbing sounds, and locations that feel like something out of a nightmare. The mod constantly introduces new areas and unexpected events, making it almost impossible to predict what's coming next. Every part of the experience feels handcrafted to make the player uncomfortable. Instead of relying on constant chase sequences, Wonderland.jar creates fear through atmosphere, exploration, and the feeling that nothing around you is safe or even makes sense. Also, just like the previous mod, the lore of Wonderland.jar is surprisingly deep. It's not just you're trapped in a creepy dimension. There's an overarching story about supernatural entities and corrupted players. At the center of the story are Wonderlands, a collection of surreal dimensions connected by a central hub called Wonderland that exists somewhere between the Minecraft world and the real world, with ties to spiritual concepts like angels, demons, heaven, and hell. The Wonderlands are home to strange creatures and the digital remnants of former players. So with all that, here's my ranking. At number 3, I'm going to put the Mimicker, just because of its lack of depth. However, it is still a great horror mod and my favorite creature-based horror mod. At number 2, I'm putting Untitled.log. With cool dimensions and entities that tell their own stories and have good scary elements. However, it just can't beat my number 1. So that makes the number 1 spot Wonderland.jar. It's just such a great mod overall. With an in-depth story and many dimensions, this is just a mod that lets you just discover how corrupt this world is, with plenty of horror elements to really give you what you're looking for in a horror mod. Of course, horror is subjective, so if you'd rank these differently, or if there's another horror mod you think deserves a spot, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this ranking and you want to see more Minecraft horror content, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.